Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has been going around the country answering questions from people at various town halls. And he was at a recent one where he had an interaction with a woman who had a question for him, but he had to interject because of her use of the word mankind.
Maternal love is the love that's going to change the future of mankind. So we'd like you to look into
we
that.
like to say peoplekind, not necessarily mankind, because it's more inclusive.
There we go, exactly. Yes, thank you.
We can all learn from each other.
This is so ridiculous. Don't use the word mankind because it's not inclusive enough. You have to use the word peoplekind. Now, generally, I don't care. To me, this is a non-issue. But the problem here is that Justin Trudeau plays the part of a leftist. He acts like he is a progressive that really cares about the citizens and cares about implementing policy for the many over the few at the top. But that's not who he is. He just plays that part through this sort of interaction of using the proper language, or wearing stupid-ass socks, or writing an article in Marie Claire on why he's raising feminist sons. So this stuff is not, again, I don't care. If he was doing this and he was also implementing progressive policy, then whatever. It doesn't affect me. But unfortunately, there are people out there that, to them, this bothers them. And it turns a lot of people off of progressive policy because they think Justin Trudeau is a leftist. So when they see him doing these sorts of things, correcting somebody for using the word mankind, it ends up just turning people off of progressive policy completely. And so to me, that's completely, that reaction to Justin Trudeau is completely irrational. But because Justin Trudeau is in the power position of being able to actually implement policy that would help people, or being able to not be so concerned about the word mankind, then the onus is on him to not act this way and to not turn people off of progressive policy. But ultimately, Justin Trudeau is the ultimate neoliberal. He pretends to be somebody that cares about leftist policy, but he, in fact, is not a leftist. For example, there are veterans that are unhappy with how Trudeau has handled veteran issues, and answering a question at a recent town hall, he told the crowd that some veterans want more than Ottawa can afford. Yet, at the same time, the government recently lent $1 billion to a mining company that has avoided paying $700 million in taxes. And he's not even a leftist on issues that you would expect him to be more progressive on, like the environment, where he's now saying that there won't be ocean protections or cuts to carbon without a new oil pipeline first. And he's applied that same neoliberal approach to Indigenous issues, where he's failed them in a number of ways, like spending $110,000 to avoid paying just $6,000 for an Indigenous teen's orthodontics, and failed the families of missing and murdered Indigenous women, and failed to make any real progress on ending boil water advisories for all First Nations communities. Yet despite all these failures, which clearly show that Justin Trudeau is not a radical leftist, people on the right continue painting him as one because of those moments where he's talking about how you should say peoplekind and not mankind. So he's doing a disservice both to people that actually need help and to the leftist movement in general by turning people off who you might be able to get if Trudeau wasn't so focused on flowery language instead of being focused on actual policy that help people. So just to give you an example, this is how Fox News covered this. So they had on Jordan Peterson, who I cannot stand, and maybe one day I'll cover him, but they had him on. He's a Canadian, so they had him on to talk about Justin Trudeau after this peoplekind moment.
So we'd like you to look into
we
that.
like to say peoplekind, not necessarily mankind, because it's more inclusive.
There we go, exactly.
I saw one tweet this morning that said Neil Armstrong should have said one small step for peoplekind.
Yeah, well, Trudeau was listening to an earnest woman try to discuss something important, and he interjected a ideological statement in the middle of the dialogue, and that indicates, I think, precisely the way he thinks. And I don't think he does think. I think he runs an ideology in his head and accepts the output without question. And I think we're really going to pay for it in Canada in ways that we can't yet imagine.
So now you have people like Jordan Peterson on Fox News trying to paint Justin Trudeau as some ideologue, some leftist ideologue, when he's clearly not. If you just look at the policies and what he has done, he is not a leftist. But because of these moments where he's using, or where he's correcting a woman for using mankind, he sets people like Jordan Peterson off, and it allows Peterson to paint the Liberal Party as some sort of radical left party, when, if anything, it is a center-right party. So Justin Trudeau isn't doing himself any favors. And look, I'm not usually a fan of trying to adjust your behavior based on what the right wing is saying. But here's a moment where Justin Trudeau there's no solution happening here. So he's negatively affecting both actual leftist policy, and negatively affecting the ability to gain voters because of his approach to language and issues like this. So there's no winning. There's no winning here. My only hope here is to show you that, look, I am a leftist. I'm a real leftist. And what Justin Trudeau did here, correcting this woman for using mankind, is stupid. That's dumb. There was no reason to do that. So if you think that all leftists are concerned about language like the word mankind, then you are misinformed on what being a leftist is. I care about economic policy and social policy that will actually help people in the real world. I'm not looking to police the words that you use that come out of your mouth that some people like Justin Trudeau don't approve of. That's not my concern. My concern is actual policy. So when you look at Justin Trudeau and what he's doing, recognize that he is a neoliberal. He is not a leftist. And don't allow people like Jordan Peterson or anybody else on the right to paint the Liberal Party as a left party when it is not.